Hello everyone. We at Team Enlight brings to you Enbreason, the daily news analysis program to help you sail through the UPSC Civil Services examination. Today, I'll be taking you through the following topics. Have a glance at it. Let's start our session with the first topic, MSMEs. So, what are basically MSMEs? MSMEs are often termed as the growth engines or key drivers of the economy. As per MSME Act 2006, MSMEs are those enterprises which have engaged in manufacture of production of goods and services to any industry or engaged in providing any services. So MSMEs can be broadly classified as micro, small and medium. You can refer this table. And regarding the contributions made by MSMEs, it contributes 29% of GDP. It promotes 45% of total manufacturing output. More than 50% of total export is contributed by MSMEs. So these data can be used in your mains answers. So regarding the significance of MSMEs, you can quote as it is highly labor intensive sector. It promotes industrialization of backward areas. Backward and forward linkages are possible with MSMEs. It promotes women participation. Poverty reduction can be achieved by providing diversified income. No locational constraints are there for MSMEs. So it can be set up anywhere. So moving on. Regarding the government schemes, I have listed the important government schemes associated with MSMEs. You can refer it later. These schemes can be quoted in your mains answers when you get a question with respect to MSMEs. Moving on, there are few issues or challenges associated with MSMEs. First thing, 90% of MSMEs are dependent on informal sources of funding and ineffective marketing strategies, technological access issues like lower adaptability of new technology and innovation, low export competitiveness due to lower quality of products, cumbersome government procedures, inflexible labor laws like Industrial Dispute Act 1947 are concerns. Apart from that, inadequate infrastructure, consumer mindset are also concerned. That is, we never buy from MSMEs. And regarding policy suggestions, you can provide UK Sinha Committee recommendations or RBI panel recommendation. Apart from that, you can say that focus should be on labor intensive sectors which provide high employment generation, and there should be preference given to service sector so that it may have spillover effect on other sectors. And you can provide points like to incentivize MSMEs to adopt innovation, and we need to ensure that institutional credit support mechanism is given for the MSMEs. So this topic MSMEs comes under your GS3 topic. Till date, UPSC haven't asked any direct questions from MSMEs. However, this can be quoted as an example in questions arising out of manufacturing sector, inclusive growth, rural development, etc. So this is a question, previous year question. You can try to answer it regarding labor intensive measures. So in this question, MSMEs can be quoted. So we come to an end of the first topic, that is MSMEs. Moving on to the next topic, manual scavenging. So government denial of manual scavenging deaths and claim of zero death in past 5 years has made this topic relevant. So what is basically manual scavenging, or what are the definition associated with manual scavenging? There are various definitions, but however, we should study the International Labour Organization definition, which describe 3 forms of manual scavenging in India. One is removal of human excrement from public streets and dry latrines. Second, cleaning public tanks. Third, cleaning gutters and sewers. Apart from this, few statistics are also important with respect to your examination, like according to Socio-Economic Caste Census 2015, there were 18 million manual scavenging households in India, and 80% of India's sewage cleaners die before they turn 60. You can mention other data also. And what are the reasons for prevailing manual scavenging in India? So you can quote it as, it is strongly connected to the caste system. Government itself is the largest employer. Continued presence of insanitary latrines is a reason. Stigma and discrimination makes it difficult for liberated manual scavengers to secure other jobs. Lack of educational support is there, and manual scavengers are reluctant to take up self-employment. And apart from that, community mindset, they consider it as a ritual. So these reasons causes prevailing manual scavenging in India. And moving on to the key initiatives taken by India, the first law to end the practice of manual scavenging came into being in 1993. That is Employment of Manual Scavengers and Construction of Dry Latrines Prohibition Act 1993. So I have given the provisions, you can read it. And in 2013, a second legislation was passed which prohibited seeking human services for cleaning drain pipes and septic tanks, prohibition of employment as manual scavengers, and the Rehabilitation Act 2013. So this act is very relevant with respect to your prelims. You may know the basic provisions of this act. And one thing to be noted here is Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment has associated reputed NGOs like Safai Karmachari Andolan, Rashtriya Garima Abhiyan, Sulabh International for identification of manual scavengers and their rehabilitation. So this can be quoted as an example in role of NGOs also. So apart from that, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is also a major initiator, and in Supreme Court ruling Safai Karmachari Andolan versus Union of India, the Supreme Court made it clear that entering sewers without safety gear is a crime even in an emergency. So you can mention solutions or suggestions with respect to this topic. Apart from that, you can mention constitutional provisions like right to live with dignity in Article 21 as a fundamental right, or Article 46, protection of weaker section from social injustice and all forms of exploitation. And regarding the solutions or suggestions, you can mention technical measures like Bandicoot robot in Kerala, Hope missions, then smart cities should be planned, rehabilitation efforts focusing on Dalit population should be made, improving education and awareness is the basic need of our. You can given your own suggestions or solutions. So this topics, as I said earlier, it comes under GS2 welfare schemes, and in GS1 poverty, population development and associated issues. So this is highly probable that this topic, that is manual scavenging, may come up in the coming mains or in future mains. So be thorough with the concepts and associated initiatives. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the next topic, cyber security and SWIFT. So with potential cyber attack warnings on the rise, lenders are engaging with global companies like SWIFT. So what is basically cyber security? So it is protecting cyberspace, including critical information infrastructure, from attack, damage, misuse and economic espionage. So basically it is protecting cyberspace, and these are the present government initiatives associated with cyber security. You can read it and you can study it later. That is Cyber Surakshit Bharat Initiative, Cyber Swachhta Kendra, Online Cyber Crime Reporting Portal, etc. So this also you can quote it in your mains answers. So be thorough with the government initiatives, with few government initiatives. Moving on, what is Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, or SWIFT? So the key points to be noted here is the SWIFT is a global member-owned cooperative, and it is headquartered in Brussels, Belgium. It is founded in 1973 by a group of 239 banks from 15 countries. So what is the objective of SWIFT? It is to form a cooperative utility to develop a secure electronic messaging service and common standard to facilitate cross-border payments. One thing you should focus here is SWIFT does not facilitate fund transfer. Rather, it sends payment orders. Keep in mind, SWIFT does not facilitate fund transfer. This can be asked as statements in your prelims questions. So please keep in mind, SWIFT is a global member-owned cooperative to form a cooperative utility to develop a secure electronic messaging service, and it does not facilitate fund transfer. So with respect to India, what is our concern? India has adopted SWIFT. So that is also important. So here the syllabus linkage is GS3, you might be knowing. Moving on to the next topic, PIB bets. See, I have taken two schemes from PIB, And the first scheme is PM Formalization of Micro Food Processing Enterprises. So whenever you get a scheme or like you find a scheme, you must study four aspects. One is ministry, second is objective, third is salient features, and fourth is eligibility criteria. I repeat, ministry, objective, salient features, and eligibility criteria. So here the associated ministry is Ministry of Food Processing and Enterprises, and it was formed as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. And what is the objective? The scheme is expected to generate a total investment of rupees 35,000 crore and 9 lakh skilled and semi-skilled employment. Regarding the salient features, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. One district, one product is a component of this scheme. Financial support of credit link grants at 35% for development of infrastructure is given by the scheme. A seed capital of 40,000 per SHG member would be provided for working capital and purchasing tools. So you must know the basics of the scheme, that is ministry, objective, salient features, and there is no specific eligibility criteria for the scheme. So that is with respect to PM FME scheme. So if I speak about the syllabus linkage, it comes under food processing and related industries in India, scope and significance, location, upstream topic. So this is a previous year question which was asked, that is, elaborate the policy taken by Government of India to meet the challenges of food processing sector. So these schemes or similar schemes can be quoted or like used as a fodder in these types of questions. So please do study schemes related to food processing sector to answer this question and try to answer this question. Moving on to the next topic, that is Mahila Kisan Sakshatkaran Pariyojana. As I mentioned earlier, you must know the ministry, objective and salient features. So here the ministry associated is Ministry of Rural Development, and it is sub-component of Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission. Don't confuse it with Ministry of Agriculture. See here the ministry is Ministry of Rural and Rural Development. Keep in mind. And regarding the objective, it seeks to improve the status of women in agriculture and to empower them. And the salient features include, it recognized Mahila as Kisan, it focuses on capacity building of small landholders, it adopts sustainable climate resilient agroecology, and it promotes sustainable agricultural practice. So you must know the basics associated with Mahila Kisan Sakshatkaran Pariyojana. In mains topic, it comes under feminization of agriculture. So this scheme can be given as a fodder if any questions come from feminization of agriculture. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the next topic, that is places in news. So this is primarily concerned with your prelims preparation. So there are two places in news. One is Pangongso Lake and second is Nagorno-Karabakh region. So first I'll explain Nagorno-Karabakh region. So it is a region which has 95% of the population as ethnically Armenian, but it is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan. So Armenians are basically Christian population and Azerbaijan Muslim population. So that is why conflicts happening in this region. So you may not study the historical context regarding the conflicts and all. What you should know is the location of Nagorno-Karabakh. And see here its boundaries, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and the borders are important. Apart from that, if you look at the map, you will see that in Armenia there is a lake called Lake Zevan. You should note that. And apart from that, you should study the countries that are opening to Caspian Sea or countries that are surrounding Caspian Sea. So that is with respect to Nagorno-Karabakh. And moving on to Pangongso Lake, it is a landlocked brackish lake situated at a height of 14,000 feet in Ladakh Himalayas. So it is present in Ladakh Himalayas, and the recent skirmishes which is happening between India and China and the standoff has made this Pangongso Lake, which is relevant in news. So you may get a question in the coming prelims with respect to the borders, India-China borders. So be familiar with Indo-China borders, important passes, valleys, etc. So please note here the Cheshul stream also. See, Cheshul stream. Please note it also, and be familiar with line of actual control and line of control and the exercises that we are having with China. That is also important. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the next topic. Before that, there is a previous year question which asked about Siachen Glacier. As I mentioned earlier, Himalayas, its borders are really important. Please do try to answer this question. And we'll be winding up the session with few miscellaneous topics, that is EU reprogrammable satellite. So European Union is to launch world's first reprogrammable satellite. So it is EU who is going to launch world's first reprogrammable satellite. This is important with respect to your prelims. And apart from that, there are other news such as surveillance laws, BRICS, IIP and index of 8 countries, 8 core industries, see this is industries, okay, not countries, it is 8 core industries, and cyber security threats. So the links for the topics will be given in the description box below. You can refer to it later. That's all for today. Hope we had a fruitful session. Thank you and happy learning.